Really enjoying this opportunity to interface with you all. Thank you so much for your comments, kind comments, most of them, but interesting comments, all of them. So with no more ado, Piers Denny says, yeah, I'd love to see Formula One go back to Kyalami. Well, you and me both, Piers. What a fabulous circuit. This is a comment based on our chats about the South African Grand Prix possibly coming back onto the calendar at some point and how good those races were. And I was never able to go, too young, to go to East London, but it looks to be a gorgeous circuit right by the coast there. And what a place to have had that championship finale in '62. And Jimmy, of course, made it his own sort of hunting ground, didn't he? And then Kyalami was just wonderful in so many ways. Obviously, some sad memories of Kyalami, Tom Pryce, particularly Peter Revson. I'll always think of those two when I think of Kyalami, because inevitably you do. I mean, when Tom had his accident, I was actually doing a lap chart for my autocar report on the exit of Learcott, the hairpin. And in those days, you just didn't know what was happening, really, other than what was going on in front of you. And I remember walking back to the pits afterwards and bumping into my dear friend Alan Henry, who was very close to Tom, as indeed I was. And he was almost in tears, and he told me what had happened. And when something like that, it's just, well, from my point of view, he was just off the lap chart. And I flew back in the South African Airways 747. It was a really bumpy, difficult flight. We were sitting down the back, and Nella Pryce, Tom's widow, was 2 rows in front of us, and Tom was in the hold. So yeah, terrible memories, but also some very good ones. And South Africa was a wonderful way to begin the series. It was always at the beginning of the year, and it was a wonderful part of the Formula One fabric. So yeah, let's hope it all comes back. Very emotional still thinking about Tom. What a wonderful guy he was. Simon Steele in the next comment says, also happy 50 years for you, Peter. It was your first race report, 72 South African Grand Prix. It was indeed, Simon. Thank you for remembering that. Yeah, I wrote that for Autosport. 72 South African Grand Prix report. Just flown from Australia, where I grew up, and I've been covering the Tasman series the last 2 or 3 years for Autosport. And David Phipps, my mentor, one of my 2 mentors, Jeffrey Sykes in Australia was the other, but David Phipps offered me this amazing job. That was £1,200 a year, £100 a month, to ghost write for him, because he had so many different writing contracts and he couldn't do all the work. It was just a dream job for me. And I rented a bedsitter in Bromley, Kent, not far from the original Lola factory. Bought a bike, 250 Suzuki from Chris Craft, and I was on the road. But yeah, the first stopover was South Africa, from Australia to England. And that race, if I think about that race, it is the smell of the Yardley aftershave that the girls were giving out as we drove into the circuit on race day. It wasn't Black Label, it was the original Yardley one. And it's impossible to buy it now, I think. But if ever I smell that, I always think Kyalami, 72, Sunshine, Denny Hulme, McLaren. And also, of course, Mike Hailwood, who really should have won that race in the Surtees. He was really quick that day. And I think he had some sort of radiator leak, hose into the side radiator. Such a shame. Mike should have certainly won that Grand Prix. But Denny won it, and that was good. I love McLaren as well. Yeah, great memories. I remember David Phipps. I was literally, he'd brought me from the airport to the Kyalami Ranch, where I shared a room with David. And a hut, as it was then, the straw roof hut, fabulous. And I walked out from the reception area of Kyalami Ranch, in the hotel, and I was still in my traveling clothes, and I didn't know any better. I think I was wearing I was wearing a suit or something ridiculous, or a tie, I think. And I walked out. It was brilliant sunshine, unbelievably hot. We walked past the swimming pool, and there was sort of Mario Andretti, Clay Regazzoni, Jackie Ickx, Colin Chapman, all sitting around the pool. And David says, "Oh, come and meet some of them." and he introduced me to all these people. I was so embarrassed, so shy, so shocked. Yeah, they were the days, weren't they? Wonderful. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for remembering that, Simon. Yeah, great memories for me too, that race. This is from Carmel 7. As long as Formula One rules can be manipulated by a race director to prioritise narrative over real competition, Formula One will lose all credibility as a sport. Well, I hope that's not the case. I mean, thanks for expressing that. It's interesting because the new FIA president, Mohammed bin Sulayem, has just put out a tweet, actually, an FIA statement. And I'll read it here in case any of you might have missed it. This is literally over the last couple of days. Following the decision of the World Motorsport Council in Paris on December 15, 2021, the FIA administration, under the leadership of Mohammed bin Sulayem, has started the detailed analysis of the events of the last Formula One Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The FIA president launched a consultation with all Formula One teams on various issues, including this one. On January 19, on an item on the agenda of the Sporting Advisory Committee will be dedicated to the use of the safety car. The following stage will be a shared discussion with all the Formula One teams. The outcome of the detailed analysis will be presented to the Formula One Commission in February, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the two critical things there, one is the FIA president launched a consultation with all the Formula One teams on various issues. Big mistake in my view. I mean, this is what leads to all this, isn't it? It's all these committee meetings, all these discussions. I mean, this was a cut and dried situation to do with rules, nothing to do with whether the team should have more input on how the safety car should be used. And that's where it all goes wrong. You know, in the days of Bernie and Charlie and Max, it was like, this is the situation, you're going to be fine, you're not, get on with it. And that's where we're going wrong. I'm a bit worried about that because that to me means already too many discussions going on, particularly with the teams, and I don't think that's appropriate on things like that. And the outcome, detailed discussion about the safety car. Well, of course, everyone will have their own opinion and their own view. I mean, we all know what Red Bull are going to say, we all know what Mercedes are going to say, and we all know what the midfield and the back of the field teams are going to say. And so it's all going to go. It'll all become, oh well, we've done that, we've learned our lessons from Abu Dhabi, we'll move forward now, and nothing will happen as a result of what happened in Abu Dhabi, of course. So to me, that looks like the new, who I hear a lot of very good things about the new FIA president. Obviously, we give him the benefit of the doubt big time. But he looks like a man who is trying to do a lot of consultation with all the different parties. Big mistake in a sport like Formula One, in my view. It needs to be very autocratic. An encouraging sign is that Peter Bayer, the Austrian with a lot of experience, good guy, is now heading up the single-seater group. But for Peter to do his job, he'll need to do it as an autocrat and not consulting the teams. There's been enough consultation with the teams. We need to get on with it now. And again, I think it means, you know, Abu Dhabi's happened now. Let's move on. Move on. Big phrase of the year, isn't it? For so many people.